Alright, this video is a little late coming out, but it was definitely worth it. I went all out for the beginning of this spin-off manga. We got a whole cold open scene that Earl put a lot of time and effort into, and I even got a patented crazy moonlight theory about a girlfriend in there. This might be a new all-timer video for the series.
So taking away 20 from our current number and...
Wait, that's not how math works! No, wait! Shit. Ow! Ow! Yeah, so that was a blunder on my end. I can't believe I spent almost a week thinking about this theory, wrote a whole script, recorded the narration, and waited for Earl to edit it, and only just as I was uploading the video did I realize my error. And because the video was late already because of my overambitious script making Earl work more than usual, I decided to take the L and let the video go up as is instead of fixing and reworking it. The one time I could have used a break week to fix my video and I didn't have it. This was bound to happen though when you're in my line of work as a reviewer and a persistent theorizer. You get the whiff of a plausible theory and suddenly you tunnel vision into making it work so that even basic arithmetic escapes you to try to prove your theory right. Kind of like a not seeing the forest through the trees kind of situation. In any case, I'm glad I embarrassed myself on a silly, non-important theory like Matsuri's parents being teen parents, rather than something more important like Rentro's divorced parents leading to his obsession with love, or understanding the deep layer of a character like when I talked about Eru and Hikari extensively in those deep dives. But besides being wrong about their ages, I do still stand by everything else I said about the Day family, like how Akira and Emilia left their daughter to be entirely raised by Akira's grandparents, while they got to be globe-trotting fashion designers. It might not have been a teenage pregnancy, but it could have still been unplanned from them meeting while on the job, and instead of settling down and being stationary fashion designers and taking care of their daughter, they left her with his grandparents to raise. And it's not like being watched by your grandparents is a recent development because Matsuri got a little older. As we saw in the volume extra, this started when she was a toddler. And speaking of that volume extra, it's still very likely Emilia speaks little to no Japanese. So that makes me wonder, can Matsuri speak English? Between having a mom who probably only speaks English and working festivals where there are probably a lot of foreign tourists, wouldn't surprise me if Matsuri speaks English. Anyway, I'm going down the rabbit hole again, let's move on before I embarrass myself. Again. Plus, that was a spin-off manga chapter, so it really doesn't count as a blunder as long as I never review more of the spin-off manga. Right?
You know, I wouldn't have made those mistakes if I was the host.
Enough of this talk about spin-offs. We got a new main series chapter to get to. I'm Moonlight150, and this is my review of the latest 100 Girlfriends manga chapter, chapter 246, Mei, Tamagoppi, and Family Ties. Be sure to go support Sunday as they now have technically 2 mangas to scan late for this one IP, so they'll need all the good energy they can get. And also be sure to support the official release in your region, as we are now on the countdown until season 3 of the anime this July. Let's dive in. It's another rooftop adventure, and I think we need to come up with a cleverer name for these kind of chapters than just rooftop adventures. Where trendsetter Akko has gone, the family hooked on Tamagotchis. Tamagoppies. The brand names they mention and the ones they don't are interesting topics of conversation. Like the series has flat out said Luffy from One Piece, Resident Evil, Demon Slayer and the like, but have made clearly off-brand lookalikes to avoid copyright, like this obviously not Pikachu, not Fall Guys called Fall Kids, and Disney.
These nuts? Ha! Got him!
It's kind of interesting to look at a list of everything, especially because there is no clear pattern like Japanese brands and Western brands. They can mention and reference One Piece, but not Pokemon?
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
It's Clefairy!
Both of which are Japanese IPs. Probably even more interesting is that Tamagotchis are owned by Bandai, which is a part of Bandai Namco, and Bandai Namco is involved in the anime. Now, to what capacity, I am unsure, as I was unable to find any connection from the series or to the studio making it, but the Bandai Namco logo is right there at the beginning of each episode in Season 2, so they are clearly involved somehow, yet the relationship isn't good enough for them to be allowed to explicitly name-drop Tamagotchis, I guess. Interesting. Now onto the actual chapter itself. The beginning section of this chapter is another one of those thing happens and every girlfriend reacts accordingly. So I won't go over all of them because I want you to go read the chapter for yourself, like always, to enjoy the hard work that not only Nakamura and Nozawa put into drawing the chapter, but also the fine work Sunday did scanlating it. To summarize it a bit though, it's all the girlfriends sharing how they have been taking care of their Tamagoppis, which can be read as allegories as to how they might act like parents. Nozawa having a baby has really given both her and Nakamura baby fever brain, it seems, between this and the kindergarten chapter and especially the recent Rentero's Family Bygone Days bonus releases. Yeah, if you haven't been made aware, Nakamura has been dropping these extra single-page bonuses showcasing a moment in the girlfriends' lives when they were younger, and they are illustrated by him instead of Nozawa. I'm really looking forward to getting more of these, especially as we get to the later half of the girlfriends who feel like they don't have as much bonus content like this. Actually, back to the chapter, I promise this time. Like I said, I won't share them all, but I'll share at least my favorites. Like how Saki's Tamagoppi has its back turned to her after it evolved, now disrespecting her authority. I wonder if that's supposed to be a parallel to Ash's Charizard ignoring Ash after it evolved, or am I thinking too deep into this? On the opposite spectrum, we have Karene's Tamagoppi, who achieved the form you can only get by giving it massive love and affection, even though she said she doesn't really care about the thing. The story then settles on Mei, who has achieved her Tamagoppi to Ultimate God Overdrive Mama P. Okay, that's just the name of a Digimon. Which is supposedly such a rare feat for Tamagoppis that only a few in the country have done it. This proves Mei is just a pro gamer. Turns out that her diligence in tending to the needs of her Tamagoppi are just an extension of her taking orders from Hahari, mainly because she took Hahari telling Mei to have fun with her Tamagoppi as an order. We then get a montage of her dedication to the Tamagoppi while working, sleeping, and even while in the shower. Also, I think between this shot of Mei running Terminator style out of the shower and the spa day with Ira, I think Mei has now claimed the crown of girlfriend we have seen naked the most in the series. Congrats? Definitely didn't beg you to be that girlfriend, Mei. Nor the winner of my kissing count video either. I think I'm underestimating her.
You underestimate my power!
But as all things, the Circle of Life comes to claim its next victim, as Mei's Tamagoppi has left our mortal coil for the big data center in the sky, leaving Mei heartbroken in the process. The next day rolls around and Mei is visibly distraught as she believes she has failed in taking care of the Tamagoppi she was ordered to take care of. And I love the detail here that Iko and Ira are comforting Mei, as these are the girlfriends who are closest to Mei that don't live in the Hanazono mansion with her. Whoever is in charge of the web of connections between girlfriends, whether that be Nakamura or Nozawa, or maybe even both, they always do a great job. After Mei confides in Rentaro and everyone else around her that she is upset that her Tamagoppi has passed, Rentaro informs her that Tamagoppis have a limited time span as per the standards of the toy. Do we chalk this up as a continuation of Rentaro's gamer knowledge from that flirty data life with Akko? I'm gonna say yes. And that you're able to continue with the game with a new Tamagoppi, but unfortunately Mei, while in her state of distress, gave the Tamagoppi a burial in the middle of the night. Even more troublesome is that the game resets after 12 hours of inactivity after the Tamagoppi dies, and with Mei unaware of when the death occurred the previous night, it's now a race against the clock. The members of the Hanazono household and their shared boyfriend take the car home, abandoning school. I like to imagine this happened during lunch break and they are skipping the remainder of school for a Tamagotchi. Tamagoppi. As they begin to dig to search for it and Rentaro regrets not having drills for arms, you know, a normal feeling, turns out the rest of the girls hightailed it out of school and ran all the way to the Hanazono mansion to perform this Avengers Assembles moment of them all gathering to help with sweat running down their faces. Except for Kogoe, she's enjoying the heat. And the added bonus of the girlfriends who are physically weak like Shizuka, Akko, and Saki had to be carried by the more physically fit is hilarious. Also, Tama looks like she's about to end my run in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Now with 37 people digging, it's only a matter of time until they find the buried Tamagoppi, and it's Hasua's nose to the rescue as she is able to sniff out that piece of plastic among the dirt and grass. And thankfully it was just in time as the game had not reset yet. With a quick click of the confirm button, Mei's new Tamagoppi has hatched, and everything is right with the world as Mei now has the offspring of her former Tamagoppi to take care of. A revelation then hits Mei regarding the Circle of Life, and what it means to have something left behind in this world after you pass. And from that conclusion she jumps to the only logical next step, and that is for her and Rentaro to have a child immediately, so that they both have something to leave behind. Not only that, but she invites everyone else in the family to do the same by treating Rentaro like the stud horse that he is, and making babies with everyone because they should all have something left behind to remember them by, because she cares for everyone in the family as well. Also, the detail of saying Hakari will thoroughly educate everyone is hilarious. Like, of all the freaks in the family, it'll be Hakari doing the teaching. Okay, maybe Mei was onto something. This last panel is probably a new all-timer for me, where we have a handful of girlfriends and their expression regarding the inevitability of producing children with Rentaro. You got the obvious ones like Hakari and Momoha, ready to do it right there on the front lawn of the Hanazono mansion, Ira and Ms. Natty seemingly ready, but nervous about the whole thing, Kimari probably holding herself back from doing it, and then Kogoe is just there. She's just there, taking in the revelation of like, oh yeah, I guess that will be a thing. I honestly think Kogoe's inclusion in the final shot is just because she's the newest girlfriend. We have seen this in a lot of recent chapters. If the story of the chapter doesn't revolve around the new girlfriend, they will be shoehorned into as many group shots as possible. I mean, Kogoe alone was put into 2 group shots in this very chapter. I mean, I get it, she's the new one, gotta show her off as many times as possible before she becomes part of the inevitable background, along with everyone else. I just would have liked to have seen other girlfriends' reaction to this baby talk who might have had a more interesting reaction than just Kogoe staring with her Sanpaku eyes. Like maybe Kishka, as we know the thought of having a baby soon has crossed her mind. But we got this amazing shot of Aira being a kind of flustered that we haven't seen before, so I guess all things can be forgiven. Oh, and Mei was here. See that duck? Guess being confronted with baby making with Rentaro was strong enough for Mei to fall back into her old habits, regressing from the progress that she has made. Her shyness was just that strong. I do find it interesting that the majority of the girlfriends in this panel outside of Hakari and Kogoe are all of the older non-student girlfriends. Like, we have a panel of all the teachers here and they're thinking about baby making with their high school boyfriend. Scandalous. Let's wrap things up. This is some fun development for Mei, something that is surely needed from time to time, as my biggest gripe with the character is how stiff she is. She is made and that is it. Now when you take chapters like this and the spa one with Aira, it finally humanizes her by having her confront and do things that she normally isn't used to dealing with. My only problem is that it's very rare that we see this growth with Mei outside of chapters where she's not the focus. The only time I could think of is when she took the initiative during the Lovelyland arc and the teasing with Aira, and that was a result of her chapter with Aira at the spa. So I'm hoping history repeats itself and we get more instances of Mei breaking the perfect Mei persona and being a more regular human in the future. Though this chapter feels less impactful as it didn't have her forming a new bond with another girlfriend like the spa chapter did with Aira, so it's hard to imagine this progress for Mei's character will come up again anytime soon, especially because I don't think she ever took taking care of the Tamagoppi personally. As it shows in this panel, she took it as an order from Hahari, and even when Hahari corrected her by saying, that wasn't an order, just have fun with it, we never got a confirmation that Mei's mindset around the Tamagoppi was changed. This is reinforced by the death of the Tamagoppi, when Mei says, it shames me to admit my failings. Here, it sounds more like she's upset to have failed her orders of taking care of the Tamagoppi than actually being bonded with the Tamagoppi itself and being upset by that. This is just muddied when the rest of the chapter has her so relieved to have the Tamagoppi again safe and sound. Is she happy that she didn't actually fail her orders, or is there an actual attachment? It's kind of up to interpretation. On the surface level, it does seem like she was attached to it, but her own words kind of have me second guessing that. Maybe it did drop from an order to her personally liking it after the Hahari correction, since she came to the whole tied together by what we leave behind revelation herself because of her attachment to the Tamagoppi. It's hard to say, but I guess I can be swayed that she did personally like and care about the Tamagoppi without being ordered to. Mei is a work in progress for me, and I want to like her, but until we crack this tough nutshell that is her blindingly dedicated mage shtick, she will continue to be near the bottom of the list for me. But I will give credit where credit is due. She is much more of a person than she was at the beginning of the series. Watching season 2 of the anime has proven that for me. So like with many other things in this series, it's a slow but meaningful crawl of progression. Thankfully, we got plenty of time to continue our progression, since more of this series should be going for, how long did I say in that video of mine? 2042? Yeah, we got a bit of time, don't we? This series is in it for the long haul. Unfortunately, next up we are on another break week, and when we return, it looks like we'll be back with the second chapter of the spin-off series of the Family's Family Daily Life. Let's hope I can keep my theories grounded in science and math next time. I've been Moonlight150, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to catch the new chapter review, as well as the other content I have planned coming out soon. And I will see you all next time.